Hi guys, sorry about that. We're hardwired now. We're full LAN. Now this flickering mesh you can see before your eyes is, believe it or not, a loading screen from Ocean for Robocop. Frightening, I know. Hang on, another Mighty Boat game? Yes. I installed it on my point. Oh, you're talking about Risk OS, yeah. Welcome. Yeah, the C64 lens. Sorry about the rubbishy stream, guys. Must apologise. Dreadful. Yeah, Lee. The C64 loading screen for Robocop is awesome, as is the music. Yeah, it is. The MSX sound via internal speaker. No, it's audio out. There's no internal speaker, at least not in my machine. Can't say for the other ones, but not in my machine. Amiga in the thumbnail, MSX in the title, and Spectrum gameplay. Yeah, we got it all going on. Quite a lot of MSX games are Spectrum ports. Yeah, well, you can't blame the fact, can you really? The MSX is another machine I never saw running in real life. No, me neither, until I started going to computer shows. There's quite a few machines that took me a long time to get around to seeing in real life. Obviously I had the TI-99 as a kid. My brother-in-law had a Atari 800XL. Most of the kids had Spectrums. I had a Spectrum 64 and a 64 and a TI-99 at various times. But most of the kids I knew had kept one machine for quite a long time. They didn't chop and change like I did. I was lucky, I guess. Grave of Monsters. How is the UK computer show scene? Do you mean the retro shows? It's very good, actually. There's usually one on every month or two. Perhaps not every month, but every couple of months. There's always things going on. Yeah, there's a big retro show recently. Yeah, they have well, there are various ones. There are many of them. I saw one in Dixon's back in the day, along with the Sam Coupe. Never saw them running software, just powered up, sat there doing nothing. Yeah, it's probably because the people turning the machines on didn't know how to work them. It's a shame, really. But, I mean, yeah. Joey Stitch, I'm jealous of the retro sheen in the UK. Well, where are all you guys from? Are you Europeans, Americans? Where are you from? Obviously, I'm UK based, and there's quite a large retro scene here. Retro shows, yeah, a lot of conventions have been taken over. Yeah, they have. They have. Joey Stitch, Georgia, USA. How's the USA? Liam, Yorkshire, England. That's where I was brought up, in Yorkshire. Whereabouts, Lee? Galacticus X in Greece. Ah, lovely Greece. Don't know what skip means. What does skip mean? Does that mean it's skipping the file? UK, just down the road from Mike. Glad to say I've met the man in person. Liam, Wakefield. Ah, yes. I was based near there. I was in between Barnsley and Wakefield, a village on the outside of it. Okay. Yeah, I know Wakefield. I used to go there drinking in my youth in the olden days. Rooftop Gardens, that was Wakefield, wasn't it? Skip. I suspect skip means it's missing the file that it should be looking for, but I can't be sure. Lee, yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah. Skyhawk, I was rocking Atari XL in the 80s. Excellent. Lee, not sure if the bar is still there. I think it closed. Closed in the 90s, didn't it, Rooftops? Joey Stitch, we have two big yearly shows, Vintage Computer Fair Southeast and the Southern Fried Expo. Good shows. I wish they attracted more people. Yeah, well, what they've done with quite a few of our retro shows is they do a lot of the cosplay and cosplay and arcade and pinball and all that sort of stuff, and they attract quite big audiences. There are many hundreds of people there, so they are quite big events. Not necessarily my cup of tea, to be honest. It's a bit loud, and they tend to play loud music and all that sort of stuff. But it's okay for the kids. The kids like it. It gets a good audience, so good luck to them. I organise a show every year or two, and the group I'm from, we organised. Usually one of us will organise a group get together once a year, so we can have a more civilised, grown up, quick go at stunt car racer, and then get drunk at the bar, which is pretty much what we do. Grave of Monsters, sounds like me, mate. Sod cosplay. I want a cup of tea and a pack of pickies. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about the loud music and flashing lights. They have a lot of that neon stuff, and they turn the rooms down very dark, which is no good for old machines. These machines are held together with hot glue and sticky tape. Dragon Con draws a big crowd, but it's not really a gaming event, more like Comic Con, general sci-fi fantasy, nerd fest. Yeah, that's pretty much what some of our retro shows are, similar sort of thing. People dressed as Conan the Barbarian and all that sort of thing, which is nice if you like Conan the Barbarian, I suppose. I've got a feeling James Bond 007 is not loading, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I did think I downloaded quite a few more games onto the CF card than I have, so apologies. I wanted to skip through quite a few, but I can't. I've got about 6 games on here. I've clicked next, and it's the end of the file, end of the card. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Joey Stitch, oh yeah, definitely. Not knocking it, it's a good time, bit expensive, but good fun. Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice to see the girls dressed up as Xena Warrior Princess or Lara Croft, I suppose. Which is very nice. But I must admit, I do quite like talking with a group of guys that I know. There's probably 10, 12, 15 of us, and a selection of those get together every 12 months or so, well, at least every 12 months, usually a couple of times a year, which is a bit of fun. Grave Monsters, I went to my local Comic Con. It was all teenagers cosplaying funky pops. Yeah, I felt like my I felt like I was my granddad's age, completely alien to me and the Greek culture, geek culture I grew up with. Yeah. Yeah, I feel slightly similar. I feel like a pervy old man when you see the young girls walking past in. Not a great deal usually. Skyhawk, did you ever have the PlayStation 1? I did. I bought a brand new PlayStation 1 after they'd been out. I don't know, they'd been out a year or so. My pal bought one on the week of release and we played. I think it was the week of release. I think we played. What was the one with the triangle spaceship going over the like a racetrack? What was that called? Wipeout. That's the only game we had for it. Wipeout and the disc that came with it, the demo disc, whatever that was. In fact, that might have been on the demo disc. I don't remember. Graver monsters walk around in bikinis, then have a whinge that people staring at them. Yeah, that's just me. Nendroid, Funky Pop, Wipeout, yeah, Graver monsters, yeah. I bought one from Comet, from Comet, and got ripped off with their extended warranty for 50 quid. Ah, the good old days. Grave Monsters demo disc was Tekken 2, I think it was Tekken 2 and Wipeout. Hello Juko, how are you sir, how are you doing? What we're doing tonight is we're doing a stream of a blue screen and occasionally a bit of writing will pop down. This is I'm told where all the kids are into these days. It's like teletext but from a more modern era. Yeah, the demo disc, it might have been Tekken. I remember Tekken 2. The MSX blue screen of death. Well, it is Microsoft after all. Control Alt Delete. Well, actually, it's got a BS button, so that must obviously be a. Well, what's happened there? Oh, it's finished. Well, that was a complete waste of time, wasn't it? Well, I've noticed on the MSX, that escape doesn't actually do anything. See, to me as a Commodore user, hi Juko, I'm fine, thank you for asking. I'm good. I'm very good. I sold a caravan to get a PS1 with Tekken 1, Toshida and Destruction Derby. I never looked back. Destruction Derby was great, although I had a PC at the time, I must admit. Yeah, if you press escape on the MSX, it doesn't actually seem to do anything. Now, is that my machine, or do you have to do something special? What's happened to the stream? Has it died again? Apologies for killing the stream. It seems to be when I hit reset on the MSX, it loses the video sync, and it thinks the stream's ended. So apologies there. I'll have to find some other way of resetting the machine, if possible. If you press escape twice, you sneeze as your soul tries to escape. That could be what it is. Skyhawk, I put all my Music 2000 creations on a CD, and I will eventually get my first PC back in the year 2000. It was an Athlon 750 with 1 meg of RAM. Excellent. My goal when I was into PCs big time was to hit 1000 megahertz in the year 2000, in 1999 to 2000, the December, the New Year changeover. I failed. I had an Athlon, I think it was 800. The best I could do was overclock it to 950. It wouldn't go to 1000. I was quite disappointed by that. But I had 950 megahertz. kind of, on a Duron. It was a Duron, I think, not an Athlon. With pencil over the jumpers on the CPU, so you could overclock it. Hello, Mark One Stardust. How are you, sir? Lee, my first PC was a K6-300. Held on to my Amiga right until then. Ah, good man. The Amiga did fall from grace rather quickly, didn't it? As soon as Commodore went down, that was it. A lot of the software houses gave up instantly and cancelled loads of stuff, as they do. They seem to think because the company's gone under, that people no longer have machines, which I find odd. Just because the parent company's collapsed, it doesn't mean that everyone who's got one stops using it the day after. But there you go. Graver Monsters, those days were fun. Seeing all the wacky ways people would cool their machines. Yeah. I had water cooling at some point, I remember, on an Athlon. It was a 3.2 Athlon. I was going to overclock it, but I had so much trouble keeping it cool that I ended up keeping it stock, and it still had to run a water cooling because the bloody thing was having a great deal of trouble. My first PC was a Pentium 133, but I had my Amiga 4000 as my main computer some years after I got my PC. Happy days. Now I don't know what run cas, R means. I take it just runs it from RAM. Just run, I don't know, does it run it rather than just, I don't know. I don't understand the MSX. I'm too old now to get the hang of new things. I've barely got the hang of old things. Well, I think games-wise, this will probably do for tonight. Athlons are like cookers, good during the winter nights. Yeah. Do you remember the what was the CPUs that used to come with the CPU coolers that used to come with them? They were barely adequate for keeping the bloody thing cool. Juco, isn't it to run the cassette? Just guessing. Well, it could be. What makes you think that? No, the different loading names that the MSX has. I mean, there's obviously a reason for it, but I don't know what they are. You have B-load, CAS, there's load CAS, there's run CAS, and there's something else. Anyway. My K6 fan used to randomly stop. Oh, I bet that made the machine shut down, didn't it, when it got to, what was it, 70 Fahrenheit, whatever it was, I can't remember now. I'm trying to think of the motherboard I had at the time. Was it a 7? Is this K7 or something? I can't remember. Some real AMD cheap crap, yep. They were dreadful. That's when I started getting into fancy fans for the PC in the AMD Athlon era, Duron and Athlon. You had a small PC and a bloody fan that was as big as your foot bouncing off it. When it hit 90 degrees, you used to set the alarm off. Citrix. Oh, you mean Cyrix? Yeah, Cyrix. Oh, I remember Cyrix. They were green, were they? Cyrix. I seem to remember a green one. 333, I think it was. Skyhawk. I eventually got an AMD 3500 2. Pretty amazing, 2 gig of RAM. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, green. That's right. Grave of Monsters drove me up the wall as well. All that documentation said it was fine. This is Batman the movie, believe it or not, from Ocean at 35%. Which seems to give you no indication that it's doing anything. I can see why people stuck with the Commodore 64 for so long. See, it'd be boring. If I did a proper video, I could edit all this. The video would be done in 10 minutes. It's not half as much fun. I remember walking into a computer shop in, well, I don't know what year it was now, but it was the first computer centre in Leeds. And I went up there. I must have gone up there. I did go up there for some bits of my first PC, which was a 486. And they had a big poster on the wall, the latest innovation from Intel, and it was RAM bus. And this was going to be the future of RAM. So fast you would never have to wait anymore. But to this day I've still never had any use RAM bus. Will you be doing basic programming like in the good old days? Will I be doing basic programming? Well, I've managed to get my name on there, scrolling across the screen, if that counts as basic programming. But I haven't gone any further than that. This is where you call in the showgirls, and you offer them a cup of tea as they do the can-can. Oh, the girls have just gone. They finished early on a Monday night. Lee, I did work experience at the first computer NC at Leeds. Worked with the guy who does the Spectrum show on YouTube. Oh, I've forgotten his name. Paul Jenkins. Yeah, nice guy. I've spoken to Paul. Grave Monsters. And then the programmer said, well, hey, infinite RAM. And we're back to 5-minute loading screens. Yeah. These are longer than 5 minutes. I thought the Commodore 64 was slow, but this is outrageous. I'm fascinated to see how long this bloody thing takes. I'm going to have to. I'm going to time one of these. At least the 64 had fast load, isn't a loading screen and music to keep you occupied. We have a blue screen. Grave of Monsters taught us kiddywinks to be patient. It certainly did. It certainly did. Yeah. It's funny. I used to quite enjoy, as strange as that may seem, quite enjoy loading stuff from cassette as a kid because I didn't know any better. And just waiting for the loading screen to come up in the 64 days and the Spectrum days. It's quite enjoyable. Especially if you bought a second-hand machine or some games off your mate at school or something. Some W. H. Smith C15s with pencil-written titles. Yeah. Downloading 20 gigs of first day patch. That's just first of 5. It's funny you should say that. Well, I've not turned this PC on for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. I turned it on to do the stream. I had to wait 30 minutes for it to install a batch of updates and then to reset itself before I could use it. Which did annoy me slightly, I must admit. Skyhawk, so what's your next Amiga? What is your next Amiga you're going to buy? I have no intention at the moment to buy an Amiga. I might, if possible, get the Amy ITX little A500 board. That's about it at the moment. I'm going to my next step will probably be getting a toaster card going and doing a little bit of messing about with video and things with the Amiga toaster. But as for buying an Amiga, that is it. The Vampire V4 maybe. But yeah, that's it. There's nothing. The Amiga scene, there's all kinds of things going off in the background, but there's nothing at the moment terribly exciting going on at the 4. So the Amiga scene is a little bit quiet at the moment. Hence my lack of streams and videos. Or one of the reasons, apart from the sunshine. Back in the days, Juco, all games took a long time to load if you didn't have a cartridge. No, well, I didn't. I never bothered with cartridges, to be honest. Grave of Monsters, I was thinking of getting an Amiga since I never owned one, but I heard Xbox Amiga emulation is brilliant, so I bought a cheap Xbox. It's not quite the same, but it'll do for now. Yeah, I mean emulation's great. It's cheap, it's easy to set up, it's usually faster than the real thing. But the whole point of having the machine in the first place, or playing the machine, is having the experience of the keyboard and joysticks, isn't it? Just my opinion. I mean, I've got a Raspberry Pi 3 set up with various emulators on it and stuff. I haven't really used it very much, but it's just a little box with the USB keyboard plugged into it. Not very exciting. Some A1222 news wouldn't hurt. I did want one. They're just waiting for drivers, that's the trouble. I've spoken to Trevor, and it's just software. That's all they're waiting for. The hardware's done, it's ready. It's just software. Juco, what do you think about the new A1500 Plus? Yeah, I like it. It's a nice case. If you want to put your Amiga 500 in their case, yeah, go for it. Yeah, I like it. I'm not sure if I do remember seeing an advert for it back in the day, but I never knew anyone who had one. I didn't have one. Didn't really know anything about them other than I saw an advert once. And I remember seeing Amiga magazine, all magazines, but Amiga magazines back in those days used to have some very spurious adverts. Not to say that Steve's adverts were spurious, but they used to have all kinds of crazy things. I didn't pay much attention to the adverts, unless they were a big full page thing. But there was all kinds of strange stuff. Before the 1200 was released, there was an advert in the back of Amiga format saying you can get 1200 motherboards to fit into your A500, which clearly would never work in a million years, because everything's different. The ports are different, everything's different, so it won't fit. But I remember seeing the advert. Grave of Monsters, the Amigas I could find were 150. I just wasn't reasonable for the cost. Where are you from, Grave of Monsters? What Amiga are you after? Ashes, I'm looking forward to getting one of the 600s that I got from Mike working. Just waiting for parts so I can fake up a kickstart using a Beaglebone Black. Ooh. eBay destroyed the car boot sales, so you can't go and find old computer stuff anymore. As a kid, I used to love grabbing a bunch of games. I haven't seen an old computer at a car boot now for probably, mind you, I don't go to car boots, but I haven't seen one for maybe 10 years. I remember going to the car boots in my late, well, probably early 20s for something to do on a Sunday morning because everywhere was closed. And it was full of Mega Drives and Aquarius machines. Who were they? Mattel. Loads of them for 20 quid. Well, not loads of them, but 20 quid each. Stacks of them. Couldn't give them away. Liam, the Pi is the best choice for Amiga emulation, I think. It's about as good a classic experience you can get outside of real hardware. And in some ways better. Yeah, I agree completely. Grave of Monsters, limited import Japanese game. Get it now, 170. Japanese Tomb Raider. Old magazines were great, yeah. Juco, yeah, the new version will fit the 500, 600, 1200 and PC. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's making it, is it making it ITX compatible? I think it is. Oh, 94%. The Aquarius was overpriced even at 20 quid. I had one, terrible computer. I always fancied one because they were blue, and that is my only reasoning for fancying one, because they were blue. I don't remember anything about them. They were slow. They had 5k of RAM or something. I don't remember. Horrible things. But if I came across one cheap as chips, I'd probably fire it up and do a few videos on it. but I'm not particularly interested in buying one. Okay, Ocean, where are we at? We're at 98%, guys. 998 on the counter. Any second now, literally nothing could happen. It's amazing. Now it's down for bedtime. The bloody stream's working properly. Finished. Well, that was a complete disappointment, wasn't it? Nothing. Actually, I should have known that because well, I don't know. Should I have known that? Anyway, Beagle Bone seemed like a decent deal. Last time I checked, they were faster than the Raspberry Pi and a bit cheaper. Pis have a brand name markup these days. Games loaded, guys. Come back tomorrow to see more games loading. Yeah, dear. God, it's rubbish. Oh. Stop. Boulder Dash. Bruce Lee. Ghostbusters. Gunfight. Gunsmoke. Indiana Jones. International Karate. Jet Set Willie. That'll be a quick one to load, won't it? There must be a way to escape this without having to press reset. There's got to be. I'm going to hit reset. How do I load it? Run CAS. I don't want to use Run CAS. Don't trust Run CAS. Bruce Lee, that should be a quick one. Run CAS. So I don't trust Run CAS. Boulder Dash. What does Boulder Dash do? Run CAS. I'm not going to do Run CAS because I don't believe you. Balls. Stardust. Bruce Lee, go for it. Ah. Okay. That seems to be doing something. And I'm ignoring the load instructions. The load instructions say run CAS. Oh, bugger that. Grave of Monsters. I was looking at picking up a mini computer for the nephew to use. Well, there's plenty of okay. What do you mean okay? Oh, that's not right. Okay. Well, clearly it's my mistake. Run CAS. Alright, okay. Run CAS. Let's try that. This is the last one, and that'll do, I think. Proper manually clicking keyboard. It is. Ooh, I found dash. Oh, that's different to before. Perhaps it doesn't. It shouldn't have the R on the end, whatever R means. Yeah, it's loading now. I can hear the relay clicking inside the MSX. Oh, hello. Ah. The Beaglebone Black technically has 3 processors, 1 ARM CPU and 2 microcontrollers for I/O, all sharing RAM. Ooh. Well, there's a good loading screen. I had to do some pest control with flies in the chimney today. That leads to my bedroom. A year and a half ago, I had a big infestation. Looked like their relatives had come to visit. Nice. There's been too many flies about as it is. I murdered them all. Good man. A license from First Star Software. Ooh. Ah, see, that's better. See, they could do it if they could be bothered. Filter mask, industrial insect spray, jolly genocide time. Happy days. Is it just me, or have the flies and moths been? Yeah, they have. There's been a hell of a lot of flies this year. I don't know what's going on. Is the bird population dying off and they're not eating all the bloody flies? There's something going on. I know they were saying there's the bird population is having a bit of trouble. Aphelios. Oh no, Orpheus. Aphelios, I can't read. Orpheus software. I remember the C64 version of this like yesterday. Dead chick in the chimney caused it, yeah. I had a pigeon behind my gas fire a few years ago. And I just stripped the fireplace to get the bloody thing out. Must have been in there a couple of days before I heard it. He wasn't quite so sprightly after I covered him in a towel and lifted him out. Oh, this is a bit quicker. Boladash, much faster at loading. Here in Sweden, it's as hot as hell and almost no flies and mosquitoes where I live. You're very lucky. We're inundated with flies here in the UK for some reason. Quite a few bumblebees as well flying about, which is quite nice, if you like bumblebees. Nah. Life in the old dog. Ooh. Oh, it's fast. Well, it's definitely faster than the 64 version. And that was pretty quick. Don't remember the Spectrum version though. Don't think I ever played the Spectrum version. Superb. Is this the one with the flying butterflies? Oh, flying blocks. That's where I used to have trouble. Oh, well, that's the first bit of trouble. Don't go that way. Come. I was waiting for you this way. Gonna get me now, aren't you? Oop, oop. The firework does. I think you've got to squash the cube, haven't you, to get the rest of the diamonds. Oh, I've never seen that before. That means the door's open, doesn't it? Wherever the door is. Where is the door? Oh, there it is. Whew. Superb. Retro Core did a nice comparison of different versions on his channel. Alright, okay. My god, I was playing Boulder Dash on my Atari. It's like going back in time watching this. Oh, it's getting complicated now. Oh, hello. Bloody boulders. It's a health and safety nightmare. Uh-oh. Ah, phew, that was close. Oh, shit. Oh, well. God, these tile-based scrolling hurts my eyes. We're all getting old, guys. We're all getting old. Well, that'll do for me. I'm going to have a drink and say goodnight. Take it easy. I'll see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye for now.